Welcome to the No Budget Indie Filmcast, where we dip into the independent film universe to highlight those little films that you might not have heard about elsewhere. Will you agree with our panel, or will our panel agree with each other? Tune in to find out. I am Milo Dennison, and with me, as always, is Claire Milan.
Hello.
And Carl Feeney.
Hello.
All right, today we are watching a film called Manbaby. So Manbaby is written and directed by a guy named Tim Lightell. I'm guessing that's how he pronounces it. And it follows a guy by the name of Sal Howard, played by Asia Fagar. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Anyway, so Sal is a stand-up comedian, and part of his stand-up comedian bit is that he dresses as a baby and does baby jokes. And he is married to this woman who is a scientist and gets home one night after doing a show, and they've kind of had this ongoing argument about having children. He wants a child and she doesn't want a child. She doesn't think she'll be a good mother. So he develops this plan that he's going to have a friend of his, this girl that he used to date that's totally into him for some reason, make a potion because she's kind of a witch, and that will turn him into a baby. And he takes it and more or less tricks his wife, which is that her name? You should have looked better at the names. Sorry, guys. Anyway, so his wife falls for the trick and thinks that he's magically turned into a baby. So he's still full grown and all this kind of stuff. And she has to take care of him. And through this, she kind of learns that maybe she does kind of want a baby. And then the truth comes out that he was just faking it, but she's a scientist. So she develops a potion that will turn him into actually thinking he's a baby. So she tricks him into taking that. And so that's kind of where this back and forth comes from. There's an added character of this doctor that she works with, that her mother basically hates Sal and is trying to hook her up with this other doctor that she works with, who's this kind of total over the top douchey guy. The film is kind of a take on, there's an old 70s film called The Baby that the writer and director took inspiration from. Tim Lightell took inspiration from this old film, and you can kind of see the influence of that. You can see other influences in this as well, where it's kind of an 70s or 80s dark comedy. So where the acting's over the top, the storyline's a bit disbelieving, but it kind of develops on this like kind of weird character types where people kind of have fetishes for things. I mean, there's a fetish market out there for people dressing up as babies and being treated like babies. So that's definitely a thing out there. And so that's kind of what the film is about. It's over the top, it's overacted, it's quirky. I think John Waters, actually, if you've ever watched any of John Waters' film, but the one I'm thinking of that has Divine in it, it's I'm brain farting, but it's an old John Waters film, super famous, that I should know the name of. And there's a person in that too that is like an adult baby, but that's kind of what it is. And so yeah, I thought it was an interesting take on it. It's certainly low budget. I know he spent a lot of years making it. In my opinion, the key with enjoying this film is you really have to take it for what it is, which is kind of that old style of film, that old John Waters style of filmmaking, where it's kind of a bit gross out humor and a bit farcical and over the top in the performances.
Yeah, do you know what? When I saw the trailer, I wasn't sure. I thought, oh, I don't know about this. But I sat down to watch it earlier, and I just really enjoyed it. Surprisingly, it really surprised me. And I think the lead actor, and lead actress, particularly lead actor, he really has comedic acting chops. Like he can act, you know. So you can see the whole motivations in there. Because if they got the wrong actors, particularly the lead, and it wouldn't work. It's definitely kind of a very surreal element to it, and they went all in that surreal, farcical element. Because if they made it kind of serious, this wouldn't work. But because I've seen a lot of films like this, and they kind of tried to make it serious and real, and it's very hard to do that with no budget. But with this, the farcical element, they knew it was a farce, and even the in the lab, with the other doctor who's interested in the girl. It just worked very well with that. Like, it wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea. And some of the gross out humor, I was like, oh, I don't know, it wouldn't be my type of humor. But then, yeah, for some reason it did work, because I think they all had their motivations. It was very clear what they all wanted. And for a no budget film, I think it worked really well. And I must say, they have amazing outside shots, because it was this filmed in Seattle or somewhere.
Yeah, and being from Seattle, I was all excited at seeing places. Giggles, the comedy club that they work in, and you could tell it was closed down at the time that they filmed this because there's graffiti all over it. And I think it's been reopened under a different name. But Giggles, I used to live down the street from Giggles, so I used to go there all the time. I saw Jim Gaffigan there. I saw Mitch Hedberg. I saw a lot of pretty big name comedians there. And it's a real small venue. I think they usually go there when they're trying out new material. So yeah, I was like, Giggles, yay, I've been there. And
a few other comedy club in Dublin actually called Giggles as well. I go to it sometimes. Yeah, Giggles. So maybe they copied that because an American guy runs it. Maybe I didn't realize they maybe copied that.
It's probably a common comedy club name.
Yeah. But you know what? The outside shots were really good. It really established where it was and kind of broke up the surrealness of it, kind of grounded it in one way. And even the opening as well, at first you're like, oh God. And then you're just thinking, okay, you're in it, you're in the story. And I liked the opening shot in the comedy club. And you really do feel for this guy and the girl as well, because they're married and one wants a child, one doesn't. It wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea. Some people will hate this film. Some people will really love it. And yeah, I'm very impressed. It took them a good few years to make it, as you were saying. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, surprisingly. And I think there's a lot going for it. And I think it's down to the acting as well, because they had to commit 1,000,000% all those characters, otherwise they wouldn't work.
Yeah, they have to play it to that point. But speaking of people who will hate this kind of film, Cathal, what do you think?
Thank you very much. You teed me up nicely. So I fall into the not my cup of tea, and this is not a cup of tea either. Water. Yeah, look, full disclosure, this is not my type of comedy, as Milo well knows. This is kind of reminds me of the sort of the Will Ferrell, Jim Carrey type of comedy, where it depends on it's the performance of the lead character, where they kind of carry the film. And I just didn't find it funny at all. As I'd seen from the trailer, I had my worries about it, that it was just going to be based on this one idea, this one joke of a man dressed as a baby, and it was. And it didn't really kind of, grow from there. And even the idea that he dressed as a baby, that they introduced that from the very beginning. The very first scene, he comes out in the baby uniform, baby outfit, or what you want to call it. And I think they lost that comic moment they could have had in the film, where he's just dressed normally, and then suddenly one scene there he's dressed as a baby, and that could have been a laugh. But they just sucked that out of it straight away from the beginning. So, he's a baby. So when he does actually go back to revert to being a baby, it's here he's a baby again. There was one joke in it which I thought was funny, and for me that highlighted what was missing from the film. And the joke, if I can remember, was that when he called his friend for help, the other girlfriend, and she said, "Yeah, come on over. My door's always open." And then he goes over and he just walks straight in, and he goes, "Your door was open." And I thought that was kind of funny, actually. And I thought that sharp comedy, that a little giggle there, when you use that word, was missing. Throughout the film, there was no real humorous writing in the rest of the film, and I was pretty bored by the whole thing. I'm sorry. And look, I could appreciate it was well made, well acted. As you say, the lead guy, he was really good. I could appreciate that. I was convinced, but just not for me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can see that call. Like I knew when I was watching this, I'm like, call like this. I know you well enough to know the kind of stuff that you like.
Yeah.
But this makes me think of stuff when I was in college and hanging out with my like drama geek friends, and we would find some old film from the 70s or 80s that was super low budget and just super ridiculous, and we'd sit around and watch it and just think it was hilarious because of how ridiculous it is. And that's kind of that's your target audience for this film, really, because in real life there's no way this couple would be together. Obviously in real life none of these potions worked, but yeah. It was funny though, because I actually started watching it and not liked it, because I actually kind of agree with you, Carl. I didn't much care for that opening sequence as well. And I was watching the whole bit of like him faking it, but then when it turned around with her getting into it and then creating the potion that actually made him a baby, that's actually when I got interested in the film. That's when I was like, oh, okay, cool. This is kind of interesting now. So it was kind of it was a slow buildup for me that kind of brought me in on that one.
Yeah, it is kind of yeah.
Go ahead, Claire. Sorry, go ahead.
It is kind of an absurd film. Like they knew that. I think the filmmakers know going in that it is kind of a one of those really wacky.
Yeah,
I think they made it like that. So that's why, in one way, it works for that category. But a lot of people who would hate this film because of that as well,
And it did take a sort of a tonal shift at that point. It became a little bit more sinister when she turned the tables on him, and then it was sort of kind of ended a bit weirdly. It was almost as if he just ran out of ideas about where the film was going to go, and just said, "Okay, this is where I go." And then, and the whole, I didn't like that other scientist, Clint Eastwood sort of
doctor,
character. He annoyed the hell out of me. Like,
he was kind of.
If that was his intention, he was perfect. And the mother, she was a cliche, the kind of the randy old lady, like after the younger guy. But I'd say they had great fun making it. I can imagine them. That scene when he's in the kitchen and he's looping out the food. And if I was there, I probably would have laughed. So I'd say they had, they had a blast making it, but it just didn't translate onto screen for me.
Oh, well, the film comes out, I think they're releasing it on video demand here in a couple of weeks, I think middle of August. So, of course, people can check it out and see what they think. But before they do that, should we rate it? Or do you guys have anything else to add?
Okay. No, I think, I think.
All right.
I have nothing else to detract.
Okay. Well, who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll
tell you what, I'll go first.
Okay, go on.
We will build up from the bottom. So I didn't like it. There you go. Hands up. 2 stars.
Okay.
To be honest, that's better than I thought you were going to. I thought you were going to give it 1 star. Yeah.
It would start off 1 star, but it was well made, well acted, and I've seen worse.
So for me, if you take it at what it is, kind of a wacky, surreal, farcical film, it's really well acted. He's a great comedic actor. And I enjoyed it more than I thought after seeing the trailer. So for me, it's 3 stars.
Yeah, I'm with you, Claire. I was not expecting to like it after watching the trailer, and especially sometimes how we get access to films, you kind of wonder like, oh shit, like, is this going to suck? And it didn't. It didn't suck at all. So I'm going to go just a hair higher than you, Claire. I'm going to go 3.5 stars. It's a very targeted audience that should go watch this film, but it is worth seeing for that audience. It is well made, and I have to say kudos to the filmmakers for completing this film. I think the problem is where cynical film critics, like I watched a thing the other night on Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which I think is a brilliant film from the 80s, and Gene Siskel or Robert Ebert, I don't remember which one of them, basically hated the film. He was like, stupid, sophomoric, comedy, lowest denominator kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, because that's Gene Siskel. He's like, I'm a film critic and I don't watch films like this, right? And so I think we're falling into that category a little bit. But I think I'm impressed with the filmmaker and the quality of the film. Absolutely. So 3.5 stars.
Yeah, I don't like the way you kind of criticize me there as being a cynical film reviewer.
Yeah, no, you're not a cynical.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. A snobby filmmaker? How about that? A snobby film critic?
I'll take that.
We're snobby film critics, so so suck on that. Yeah. Like I said, the film comes out, I think the 18th of August. I could be wrong on that. Maybe it's the 15th. It's going to be out on video on demand. Check it out. Support an independent filmmaker. And let us know what you think. You can leave a comment or you can reach out to us on all the social media channels, which are, not all the social media channels. We're only on like 3 of them: Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And it's at No Budget Show. And until next time, we'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.